This is going to be the last video in this series for MySQL. We're going to be talking about backups and recovery. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is like why the backup is needed. It's essential. Like things happen like following, you would end up having situations where the hardware uh, is no more working. So we have hardware failures, and so because even if you have like the most robust hardware, they are not immune to crashes or even like the other things like power outages and any kind of disasters. So we need the the regular backups to ensure that we have a clean copy of data. The other one is accidental deletion. So yeah, human error, it's never inevitable. Accidents happen. That's why we want to make sure that we have a backup in these kind of situations. And then we have cyber attacks. So the malicious actors, they are constantly coming up with new ways to infiltrate systems and steal data or corrupt data. So we gotta take care of that. Then we have data corruption. So we have software bugs, we have power surges, and sometimes the hardware malfunctions. They can sometimes corrupt the database files. So that's another common one. Then we have some regulatory compliance. So many industries, they have regulations that mandate regular data backups for compliance purposes. So you may end up in a situation where it is you are doing the backups, or backups are needed for the compliance purposes. So these are the things we need the backups for. But what are the really like what are the benefits of backups? So when it comes to the benefits, I can think of like a peace of mind. We have reduced downtime. We have data protection, and we have better recovery, or you can call it like improved recovery. Disaster recovery. So knowing that the data is safeguarded against different scenarios like unforeseen events, like it will give you a peace of mind. Again, once that happens in the event of an accident, um, like a quick and an efficient data restore that minimizes the downtime, and that's gonna be better for the business needs. Then we have data protection. Again, backups, they act as shield, ensuring you have the data integrity, and availability of data is there. And that is again needed for the business, critical business operations. uh, Again, improved disaster recovery is like you need to have a backup strategy uh, against like the whenever the disaster happens. You need to have like that strategy in place, so you can do a swiftly recovery. Okay, now we're going to be talking about like a thing called a backup frequency equation. So what are the different factors which play a great role in the backup frequency? So number one is data criticality. First thing we need to think about is like how crucial is your data, and especially how crucial is your data to your business operations. So more critical data requires more frequent backups. Could be like in case of like financial databases, you may end up doing the backups hourly, right? Then we have update frequency, not like how quickly we should backup. It's like update frequency is like how often does your data change. So again, a regularly updated data is gonna require you, like you will be required to do the frequent backups to avoid losing recent changes. So if the data is changing so quickly, you need to be making more backups. Then we have acceptable downtime. So how much downtime your business can tolerate in case of an accident or like a disaster or an incident, right? So shorter acceptable downtime demands more frequent backups. Okay. Now we wanted to talk about another thing known as like the types of the right backup. So there is a full, so once you are going to do a backup, so what kind of backups you can do? One is the full backups. What it means is like you're going to be capturing the entire database at a specific point in time. So you're going to be basically offering a complete recovery option. But again, this is going to need a lot more storage space, and it would take longer to complete, but you would end up having a complete full-blown backups. Then we have incremental backups. So what it means is like you will have you copy or you save only the data that has changed since the last backup. So again, what it's gonna do is like it's gonna be saving you a lot of storage space, but requiring a full backup uh, like it's gonna require you a full backup before you actually start doing the incremental backups. So again, requires a full backup, but after that, you can have like kind of batches, which is just gonna be looking at the differences in the data. Then we have differential backups. Okay, so you would copy all data changed since the last full backup. So it is faster than full backups but larger than incremental backups and requiring the full backup for recovery. So these are the different ones. Again, incremental is like uh, it's gonna look at the data that has changed since the last backup, whereas the differential is like it would look at the data which is changed since the last full backup. Okay. Now there are different types of backups. Like again, we did talk about like different kind of like in terms of the data and in terms of how you store it. We have types, uh, or like you can call it like a secure place of backups. Like types in terms of the secure places to backup. One is on-site, then we have off-site, and then we have cloud. So in terms of like what they are is like on-site storage is, again, as the name suggests, it's going to be where your server is, where you are sitting. It's going to be the hardware needed, and it's going to be sitting in at the same place where you're working. It's basically on-site. and it is going to be a convenient for quick access, but this kind of like on-site storage where you have hard drives, everything physically accessible, the problem with that is like it's vulnerable to local disasters. Like if the fire is there, if any theft happens on your site, you're gonna have a problem. Then we have offsite. Again, we have physical hardware, but not accessible to you, but at a very secure place. Maybe you are an enterprise, you have offices at different locations, and the hardware is secured at like you are in charge of the hardware, but at a very secure place. So again, it offers protection from the local disasters. Like if something happens to your local, again, making sure that offsite means that you have it at a place which is very secure, away from the disasters and everything. So it's gonna give you the protection from the local disasters, but it introduces a network latency, and again you will have the security risk uh, just associated to a database. And then we have a cloud storage, which provides the scalability, accessibility, also disaster protection, but it comes with cost considerations. And yeah, so and again, like you are relying on the vendor, uh, which is basically gonna be providing you the services. You are relying on them to take their services, so there is some cost considerations, and yeah, a third party being involved in giving you the backups. Okay, one very quickly I wanted to cover this one, that we have two things: testing and verification. So so we need to do regular testing to basically conduct the periodic backup tests. Why would we? Why would? Why would? We're gonna like to do that is because we want to ensure the complete data capture, uh, and also like the successful restoration and stuff like that. And then the verification, we needed to look at the integrity and usability of your backups. Basically, we don't want to have some backups which are not which cannot be used. We are thinking that okay, we are doing the backups, but we have never tested the backups. We have never verified that we can recover using those backups. That's not gonna be a good situation. Okay, in terms of these, you can when it comes to the backups, you can think of three things which are your friends, like automation, documentation, and security. So you when it comes to the automation, you need to understand that there is a lot of importance in scheduling and automating your backups. Uh, it would ensure that you run consistently and avoid the human error. Then documentation, you need to have a backup strategy. Uh, like you need to have procedures in place, so you when the time comes, you don't run into situations where you don't know how to really make use of your backups. And the security, like you need to implement the access controls and like encryption to protect your backups from unauthorized use. Okay, now I wanted to talk about the recovery. Like okay, so you have a backup, uh, you run into a situation, a disaster, and you wanted to come up with a recovery. So what are the different types of recoveries? One is the point in time recovery. So what it means to do a point in time recovery is that you are restoring your database to a specific point in time, uh, like based on your backup schedule. And this is good when like you have again accidentally deleted or corrupted the data. You ended up having a cyber attack, and you want to go back to like a state before the attack. uh, yeah, so this is one type. Then we have granular recovery. Okay, so this is like where you are recovering individual files or tables or any specific data uh, within your database, and this is like useful when you are, again, if you have accidentally deleted or corrupted data, if you are just like extracting specific data for data analysis, uh, or like you are trying to minimizing the data loss by recovering only the affected parts. Then we have disaster recovery plan. So what it means is like you're not looking at like if we are gonna be doing a point in time recovery or a granular recovery. It's just like you already have the documentation that what exactly you're gonna be doing when a certain thing happens. So you are prepared to recover the data, uh, like by following the recovery procedures for different scenarios. If you have hardware failure, you're gonna do this. If you have cyber attack, you're gonna do this. um, yeah, so and then you assign the team roles and responsibilities for each recovery stage. Okay, and now I want to talk about these are the types of recoveries, but then they have some advanced recoveries. So these were the basic recoveries. So what are the different advanced recovery types? Okay, so the first one, and that's the last thing we wanted to cover in this video, like basically the advanced backup and the recovery techniques. One is known as CDP, the continuous data protection. So it is like having a near instantaneous recovery, meaning that you are constantly replicating your database changes. So it captures and stores the database modifications, which is going to allow you to recover to a point in time within a defined window. So that it means like it's constantly replicating the data, it constantly replacing, and uh, uh, stuff like that. Then we have log shipping. So this technique involves continuous transferring transaction logs. So whenever you are writing to the databases, you are continuously transferring the transaction logs to a secondary server for faster recovery, recovery. So basically, if something happens, you would have another server where all the information of transactions is there. So if your primary server fails, the secondary server can be quickly brought online using the replicated logs, and that's going to definitely minimize the downtime. Then we have high availability solutions. Availability, also known as HA. So again, uh, they are there to achieve near continuous database availability by doing what? By doing the clustering or like the failover mechanisms. Again, you're going to end up having uh, primary servers. If there is an outage in that, you have a redundant system which is going to automatically take over, and it's going to ensure the minimal service disruption. So difference between log shipping and the high availability is, over here you are like you are logging the transactions to another server, and the other server is going to pick that up. The high availability is like you end up having multiple servers with multiple like redundant data, uh, and that's going to take a little bit more space, the HA ones, but it's going to ensure that you have high availability, and they are a little bit more complex to implement and maintain, uh, yeah. Then we have again, we have cloud-based solutions. So these solutions, they offer features like automated backups, remote storage. If you in terms of the if you think of the AWS, they have these features where you can automatically do the backups, you can do the remote storage, and centralize. They give you the centralized management, and just basically simplifying the administration. So there is a cost to it. Uh, if you do not have the in-house expertise where you're doing the backups and everything, again they're going to provide you all these automated timely backups, and AWS is a good example of that. They have these solutions. And the last one is archiving and data lifecycle management. Okay, so if you are thinking of long-term strategies, like to keep the data retention, and you need to move the older data to secondary storage for historical references, and again the legal issues. And you need to have a data lifecycle management, which defines rules for data classification. When would you migrate? When would you delete? Based on the data sensitivity and and the usage patterns. So that's the archiving and how would you manage the data. These are a few of the advanced recovery types, and that's kind of concludes my video, and that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for watching the series too.